أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء وخاتم المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين واللعنة الدائمة الباقية لأعدائهم من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. صلوات عليك. Alhamdulillah, this is the fifth session that we have. It's an opportunity that Allah has given to us to look at Surah Rahman and to go through a very brief commentary on that. This is a surah, as I said, beginning with the unique name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ar-Rahman, Allama al-Quran, Khalaqa al-Insan, Allamahu al-Bayan. And the indication is there right in the very first word, Ar-Rahman, that this is a surah which deals with the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the ayat that we have seen till now, ayat 1 to 9, basically we saw the first one was the Quran as the example of divine guidance, and then the creation of insan, and then we came to the issue of وَعَلَّمَهُ الْبَيَانِ. Bayan is basically a reflection of the intellectual capability that Allah has given to human beings. Number 4 was the sun, and number 5 the moon. And then we looked at the ayat dealing with the issue of وَالنَّجْمُ وَالشَّجَرُ يَسْجُدَانِ, the herbs that grow and spread on the ground, and the fruits which are produced on the trees. Last evening we looked at the ayat where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started talking about the sama, and this evening we'll look at the arz. Sama basically refers to the sky or the atmosphere around the globe. And before going from sama to the arz, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about mizan. 3 different kinds of mizan. A mizan as a balance in the system that Allah has created, mizan in form of the divine laws that He has sent, and mizan in this form of this scale that we use to conduct our business transaction with one another. Going on to the 8th blessing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالْأَرْضَ وَضَعْهَا لِلْأَنَامِ. This is ayat number 10 of the surah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now talking about the earth. He talked about the sama, the sky, and now coming to the earth, the وَوَضَعْهَا لِلْأَنَامِ, that وَالْأَرْض, the earth, He laid it out for the humans. It's interesting, especially for those who understand Arabic, you know, the words used for the ayat where He talks about وَالسَّمَاءَ رَفَعْهَا وَوَضَعَ الْمِيزَانِ, and then coming to ayat number 10, وَالْعَرْضُ وَضَعْهَا لِلْأَنَامِ. When it comes to the وَالسَّمَاءَ رَفَعْهَا, He says He raised it. And when He talks about أَرْض وَضَعْهَا, He laid it down. You know, and the choice of words are very interesting from the language point of view. The term lil anam, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala laid down, put down the earth, lil anam. Normally the term anam is used for human beings. But looking at the context of this surah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about ins and jinn, human beings as well as jinn, you know, here, according to the majority of mufassirin, the term al-anam refers to not only human beings but also jinn. They basically coexist with us on this earth. And so that's the reality. Quran talks about it. There is a whole surah by the name of Surah al-Jinn. And so we cannot, reject this. This is not just a superstition. No, the jinnat coexist with us on this earth. It's not a topic, but let me just make one comment about it, that although, jinnat coexist with us, but it doesn't mean that they are always looking for problems for human beings. The way we know that whenever things happen, especially between husband and wife, you go to some of these people, they will say, yeah, it's a jinn or jadoo. It's nothing to do with jadoo or jinn. You have problems among yourselves. Look at the problem, and then you'll find a solution. The problem is when we look for external causes, we do not realize what is the problem. And when you do not even know what is the problem, you will not even work towards, improving the situation. So this whole business of, people have their own dukans of this, jinn and this and that. Yes, they coexist with us, but the interaction between jinnat and the human beings is very rare. It's an accident. It's not the norm. Salawat pढ़ने के बाद. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after talking about the sky, then He, mentions ard, وَضَعَهَا لِلْأَنَامِ. He basically made this for human beings and the jinn. Let's talk about ourselves only here. The way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes al-ard in different ayat is very interesting. There are three kinds of description that we see. One is in Surah Naba, Surah number 78, ayah 6, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَلَمْ نَجْعَلِ الْعَرْضَ مِهَادًا. Did not we make the earth as a mihad for you? Mihad, mahad, which means a cradle. You hear this famous hadith of the Prophet, أطلب العلم من المهد إلى اللحد. Mahad is the cradle, lahad is the grave. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from that you have this mihad. What Allah is describing this earth as a cradle for us. Means it has been designed and made in such a way that for us, this earth is as comfortable as a cradle is to a newborn. And it is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it for us so comfortable and easy. And this is one way of appreciating this name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Probably that's why you will see in not only Eastern languages, even in the Western languages, when we talk about the earth, we describe it as the mother. Madar-e-Watan. Whether it's in Hindi or Urdu or Farsi or Arabic, even in English we say, motherland. And so in a way, we relate this concept of, a kind mother taking care of the baby. That is the status we give to the earth as far as, taking care of us is concerned. The second description that we see in the Quran is from Surah Baqarah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, after it's a long ayat, where it says, الَّذِي جَعْلَ لَكُمُ الْعَرْضَ فِرَاشًا. Firash from farsh, carpet. And this is a place where you would be able to, sit down more comfortably, or lie down in that area more comfortably. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the sama is the canopy over you, and the arz is the carpet underneath you. And so this is another description. And the third one, this is from Surah Mulk, ayat number 15, هُوَ الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُمُ الْعَرْضَ ظَلُولًا. Dhalulan means something which is subservient to you. It is in your control. And yes, if you look at the way Allah has created this earth, and we looked at other examples from the scientific point of view about the location of the earth and its relation to the sun and the moon, the distance, the light, the rotation. This is basically as an environment which is conducive to human life, survival for human life on it. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the intellectual capability, the ilm, the ability to exploit it. And there is nothing wrong in exploiting the natural resources. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this for us, and He has made them subservient to human beings. And so this is one aspect that we have to keep in mind, that we are not for this dunya, the dunya is for us. Salawat upon the Akbar. The next ayat continues that description about the blessings that Allah has given to us in form of this ard. وَفِيهَا فَاكِهَةٌ وَالنَّخْلُ ذَاتُ الْأَكْمَامِ وَالْحَبُّ ذُو الْعَصْفِ وَالرَّيْحَانِ. In it you have fruits. فَاكِهَة, فَوَاكِه, this is fruits. And the date palms, the khurma. ذات الأكمام, which comes in sheets or in covers. وَالْحَبُّ ذُو الْعَصْفِ وَالرَّيْحَانِ, and the grains with its husk, and the herbs which has their own fragrance, khushbu. And the beauty in it is that not only you are eating it, but even when you smell some of the herbs, they itself have special fragrance to themselves. When we look at this, two things to think about. The first statement, فِيهَا فَاكِهَةٌ وَالنَّخْلُ ذَاتُ الْأَكْمَامِ. Fakiha, fruits. Isn't khurma part of the category of fruits? Anybody has doubt here? I don't hear the response. Khurma and dates also as part of fruits, isn't it? It's not vegetable, it's fruits. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here has singled that out separately. فِيهَا فَاكِهَةٌ وَالنَّخْلُ. Why? Some of the people say, well, because Quran was revealed in the Middle East, and this was one of the most common, fruit available to them, and therefore, they would like to give that historical, geographical context to this ayat. But no, I think out of all the fruits which are there, nakhl has its own, special qualities and the benefits. I don't want to go into the health and the science perspective of it. You can really do the research if you want. And many websites dealing with health or fruits and vegetables, they will give you all the details of what is there in the khurma as far as the things which are required for the development of a human body. But the importance that we see from the Islamic point of view is that this is something which has even been recommended in the Sunnah of the Prophet and the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. This tradition of starting the iftar with khurma. Why is it? Because we had fasted for the whole day. The body needs some energy. And by starting the end of the fast with khurma has its own importance there. So it's not that it's only delicious, but as far as the properties of that fruit is concerned, it is something which gives energy instantly. And so that's the importance of it. Even from the hadith that we have, one is from Amir al-Mu'minin Ali bin Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam. And this is especially for the sisters, where he says, talking about pregnant women, ما تأكل الحامل من شيء ولا تتداوى به أفضل من الرطب. Where Amir al-Mu'minin says that a pregnant woman, from the things that she eats, or the things which are used for medicinal purpose, there is nothing better than fresh dates. Ar-rutub means fresh khurma. There is another statement which is from Amir al-Mu'minin quoting Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Where he talks about the new mother. Amir al-Mu'minin talked about a pregnant woman. Now the mother has given birth. The Prophet says, فَلَيَكُنْ أَوَّلُ مَا تَأْكُلُ النَّفْسَ الرُّطَبِ. The first food of a woman who is in nifas, means she has given birth to a child, should be fresh khurma. And then he relates that, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ قَالَ لِمَرْيَمَ. The Prophet relates that statement of his own to the story of baby Maryam. And if you look at Surah Maryam, you will see that there is an ayat where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when she reached to the point of giving birth to Isa alayhi salam, she separated herself from the people and from the city, goes outside in an isolated area in a desert, and she sat down by the trunk of a dry, dead tree. It was not the season for khurma. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala there consoles her. Don't worry. He says, if you just look down, we have created just immediately a stream of water for you. So you don't even have to go far away to look for water. And then this tree that you are leaning on it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَهُزِّي عِلَيْكِ بِجُزْعِ النَّخْلِ. Pull the branch, the lowest branch that you can get hold of it. Pull it towards yourself. تُسَاقِطُ عَلَيْكِ رُطُبًا جَنِيًّا. You will see fresh dates falling down upon you. So the water is there, and the khurma is there at that time. And this is how the Prophet relates this to the issue that the first food for a new mother would be the khurma. Let me just, slightly digress from the point of reflection about this ayat. حُزِّ إِلَيْكَ بِجِزْعِ النَّخْلِ تُسَاقِطُ عَلَيْكِ رُطُبًا جَنِيًّا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed baby Maryam with this special, occasion of giving birth to Isa as a miracle for the whole world. And this is unique. It's her status, nobody has that. And in order to help her, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings forth, a stream right there. Makes a dry palm tree, is such a way that it can have fresh dates dropping upon her. But then the question is, oh Allah, if you are so merciful, and this is Surah Rahman, why do you even have to ask Maryam to extend her hand to the lowest branch and pull it towards herself? Why give her that zahmat? That much of a, hard work. Now that you're going out of your way to do things in a miraculous form, she didn't even have to do that. But maybe there is a lesson for us, a point of reflection, that the barakat comes with harakat. You have to do something. Allah says, yes, I'll give you barakat, and I'll provide for you, but you also have to do your part. And this is a lesson that we get from the story of Bibi Maryam in Surah Maryam. Salawat. And so this is where, probably the reason why the date palms have been separated from the other fruits. Since I talked about pregnant mother, new mother, let me add one more point here, that it is recommended when a new child is born, one of the first things that you would give to the child is khurma. However, not the whole piece. Don't come to me later on, Maulana said this, and go through. No, you just take a very small, piece from it, make it sure it is basically almost like liquid, and just put it on the tip of the tongue of the baby. This is one of the mustahabbat, that the first test of the food from this dunya, which goes into the mouth of the baby, would also be khurma. Salawat. The second sentence there, ayat number 12, basically referred to grains separately and herbs because they are from different categories. Let me now go on to one ayat as a end of it. Ayat number 13, end of our discussion. And this is the ayat. This is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after talking about 10, almost 10 to 12 different blessings, then he comes to this ayat, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. That so which of the bounties of your Lord will you both deny? The term both, Rabbukuma, kuma here is, if it was just Rabbuka or Rabbukum, it was plural or singular. But kuma here, Rabbikuma, is dual. And so it refers to two entities. That, so which of the bounties of your Lord will you both deny? And this is where the issue of ins and jinn comes in. This ayat is addressed to the human beings as well as the jinn. And that is understood by the following ayat where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about the creation of the human beings and the jinn. And as I mentioned earlier in the first session, that this is an ayat which has been repeated 31 times in Surah Rahman. And basically, according to Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam, the ayat itself is a question, a question which doesn't need answer. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. This is Allah asking, which blessings of Allah you are going to deny. The response is no, we are not going to deny anything. And the wordings comes from our sixth Imam where he says, لَا بِشَيْءٍ مِّنْ آلَائِكَ رَبِّي أُكَذِّبُ. That, O my Lord, I do not deny any of your blessings. Let me end with one ayat from Surah Baqarah, ayat number 29. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned al-ard, three words were used. One was mihad, cradle, firash as the carpet, and al-dhalul was the description that the earth has been made subservient to the human beings. Another ayat from Surah Baqarah, basically in this ayat which says, هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُم مَّا فِي الْعَرْضِ جَمِيعًا. That He is the one who created for you everything that is in this earth. So this earth is for us. I used this term 2-3 times in these 5 days, that the dunya is for us, and we are for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those are not my words. That is from Hadith Qudsi. Hadith Qudsi is different from normal hadith. A hadith normally is a statement of the Prophet. The words are from him, but the theme, of course, is based on the wahy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Since in Surah Najm we know, وَمَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. Whatever the Prophet says is based on the wahy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in hadith, the wordings are from him. Hadith Qudsi, on the other hand, means that it's not part of the ayat of Quran, but even the wordings are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is where the Prophet says, قال الله عز وجل, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said this and that. And then you look at the whole Quran, you will see it's not there. Well, that's not part of the Quran. That's a hadith, but it's known as Hadith Qudsi. One of the hadith Qudsiya is a hadith where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to us, Ya ibn Adam, khalaqtul ashiya li ajlik. O son of Adam. Now, sisters, this includes daughters also, don't worry. This is generic form here. Ya ibn Adam, the children of Adam, khalaqtul ashiya li ajlik. I created everything for you. Wa khalaqtuka li ajli. But you I have created for myself. And so keep that in mind, that we are not for this dunya, the dunya is for us. It is a blessing and a ni'mat that Allah has given to us for our comfort and for the survival of human beings in this dunya. The last statement before I conclude is that one of the brothers came after yesterday's talk, and he brought up an interesting comment. We talked about 3 mizans yesterday, and the first was the mizan that Allah has created for the system, the balance in the creation of the universe itself. Everything is systematically and it's balanced. When we look at this earth as an amanat given to us for our use, this goes in hand with this concept that it is for our use, but we have to maintain balance in how we use it. This whole issue of environmentalism that we see, in a way, to some extent, we would agree with that, because this is not only for us, this is for the generations to come. So we have to use it in a wise and a just manner, because eventually, we know that the dunya has been created for us. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.